In this video, I'll be running through how to get the most out of your agency, why most brands don't form effective agency partnerships, and how you can. If you've worked with an agency before and ended the partnership, there's two reasons as to why you would have ended it. Number one is the agency couldn't achieve the desired or the expected results. Or number two, the partnership lacked effective collaboration, communication, and management. In instant number one, this is just a poor quality agency. They either don't have the talent and systems on board to achieve the desired results, or they incorrectly expectations set before the partnership began. So there was wildly high expectations that were set, which were impossible to achieve, which also leads to the agency just being a poor quality agency if they're doing that. In instance number two, this is due to a lack of resourcing from the agency side around how to have an effective partnership and how to manage that partnership over time. If you've gone through 5+ agencies, it's very likely that number two is your issue. It's very unlikely that you're going to find 5+ agencies that all can't deliver desired results. If that is the case, then that means that you likely have a gap in your current ability to effectively vet agencies and know what agencies can deliver and what can't. Luckily, we do have an entire resource and video around this, which I'll link below, which you can go ahead and look at if you believe that the agencies being able to deliver on results is the issues that you've been facing. In this video, though, I'll be tackling number two, which is that the partnership lacked effective collaboration and management due to a lack of resourcing around how to have an effective partnership. What most founders oversee when they go and hire an agency is that you're actually signing up to manage an agency. In fact, in most cases, you're managing a mini team. You're not just managing one person, you're managing 4, 5, 6, 7 different people that are all working on your business. The issue here is that a common weakness in most e-commerce founders' skill sets ends up being effective management, because e-commerce lends itself to very lean, small teams. The highest leverage skill for you to build your e-commerce business from 6 to 7 to 8 figures is not having incredible management skills. It's not a top priority. You shouldn't be allocating large amounts of your time to upskilling and management when you end up having a very, very small team and you can do $20 million a year with that small team. So what this ends up lending itself to for most 6, 7, even low 8-figure e-commerce business owners is significantly underdeveloped management skills. And when you're working with agencies, you're managing agencies. So you start to see where this gap in skill set starts to arise and cause issues. In this video, I'm not going to be able to teach you how to be a world-class manager in the next 2 to 3 to 10 slides that I have here. But what I can do is give you 2 high leverage management skills that's going to hopefully make the most impact possible on your ability to work with agencies, work with people within your business, and continue to grow in the right direction, so that you can get the most out of every agency that you work with. If you go ahead and you implement these management skills, these management tactics, number one, you'll find that your agency is going to start going above and beyond for you. They're going to start enjoying working with you more, which is going to allow them to allocate more resources towards you. You'll also find that your account managers are going to start spending more time on your brand than the other brands that they're working on, because they really enjoy working alongside you and your team. And number 3, you'll start to find that your mini team that you've gone and hired as almost external contractors now actually feel a part of your brand. It starts to feel like an in-house team when you treat them as such. So let's dive into it. Number 1 is negative reinforcement does not encourage better work. And to be more specific here, only negative feedback does not work. What I'm referring to here is strictly negative feedback with little to no praise. The reason this management style doesn't work is it leads to team members feeling undervalued and underappreciated, which leads to team members prioritizing clients that actually do make them feel valued. Put yourself into the role of any agency, a web dev agency, a paid media agency, SEO agency, the list goes on. If you were working across 6 accounts, 7 accounts, 8 accounts, and there were a few clients that really appreciated your work, were constantly providing you with positive feedback, celebrating wins, and then you had 2 to 3 clients that were doing the complete opposite. All they would do is provide you with negative feedback, how you're failing, how you can improve. No wins were ever being shared. You can imagine how you'd start to really dread working on those clients and really just start to naturally redirect your time to the clients that you enjoy working on, that you actually get positive feedback on. You know that if I put an hour in here, I'm going to get positive feedback about the great work that I'm doing. But if I put an hour of effort into this client, I'm not going to see any praise. I'm not going to see any positives. In fact, I'm likely just going to get an email with more negative feedback. Alternatively, I'm not saying that you just want to provide positive reinforcement. There is a mix here. When it comes to positive reinforcement, it's going to lead to team members feeling valued and leading to increased efforts. But it's not saying to never call out any mistakes. Positively reinforce actions that are desired, but also provide open feedback on improvement opportunities. Everyone's going to tell you, I can take feedback, just give it to me straight. But this is not true for anyone that I've ever seen, particularly on a long enough time horizon. Maybe for 2 weeks, you can provide consistent feedback to someone, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks. Eventually they'll break. If you provide feedback to someone for 12 weeks straight with not a single positive in there, I guarantee they will not want to work with you on a long enough time horizon. So it's really imperative to be celebrating wins and positively reinforcing where possible. And this leads into number 2, which is radical candor. And this is pulled directly from a framework that has a book around it. It's an entire company has been built around this framework, and it's actually one of our internal principles that we hold ourselves to. The biggest leverage is on the other side of a few hard conversations. It is absolutely vital to call out feedback immediately in real time, and to do this through a lens of genuine compassion. And this is the framework that I'm going to be breaking down over the course of the next 10 to 15 slides. When you provide feedback, you provide it across an X and Y dimension that will land on this graph. If you care really personally about the person that you're providing feedback with, and you can demonstrate that, and you're challenging them directly, you'll end up in this positive zone of radical candor, where the other person knows that you care about them. That's why you're providing the feedback, and now they can take away and improve. 70% of people are here, which is they challenge people directly. The second they see a mistake, they will call it out, but they will not do it through a lens of caring personally, through a lens of compassion. And so what ends up happening is it comes across as obnoxious aggression. Another about 20% of people end up in the top left, which is ruinous empathy. They don't have the courage to sit in uncomfortable situations, in uncomfortable conversations, and provide very direct feedback. And they care personally a lot about the other person. They don't want to hurt their feelings. And so what ends up happening is they sit in this position of ruinous empathy. They're ruining the other person's career opportunities for growth because of how empathetic they are for the other person. And then a very, very small percentage, 5% or less, sit down in manipulative insincerity. We're going to skip over it. It's not really worth touching on, but this is someone that doesn't care about the other person and also doesn't want to challenge directly. It's very, very rare. Most people sit here. Most people also sit here. It's very rare also to sit up in radical candor, which is what I'm going to be talking about. So radical candor is kind and helpful. Obnoxious aggression is mean, but may be helpful. Obnoxious aggression is also called brutal honesty or front stabbing. Obnoxious aggression, by the way, is the second most effective form of feedback on this graph. Don't get me wrong. And people will see success with this. And that's why if people start here, they end up just pursuing this because they'll see a degree of success. But it's nowhere near the degree of success that you can get if you sit up in radical candor. Ruinous empathy is never effective for anyone. And that's just being nice, but ultimately unhelpful and even damaging. It's seeing somebody with their fly down, but not wanting to embarrass them. So saying absolutely nothing, with the result of 15 more people seeing them with their fly down being even more embarrassing for them. And then lastly is manipulative insincerity, which is a stab in the back. Let's get a little bit deeper on this. What does challenge directly actually mean? And particularly, what is it not? Challenging directly does not mean you can assume that whatever you think is the truth and therefore should be shoved down other people's throats. There's a quote from, I believe, Seneca, which is the only thing that I know is that I know nothing. And so always believing that you know exactly what the truth is and shoving that on other people is not challenging directly. Challenging directly also does not mean you are also right. You might be wrong. In fact, you should expect and welcome any reciprocal challenge on any statement that you're going to make. Thirdly is the direct in challenge directly does not mean to be brutal. Radical candor is not brutal honesty. It means to share your humble opinions directly rather than talking badly about people behind their back. And lastly, challenging directly does not mean saying whatever pops into your head. It's being thoughtful in the feedback that you're about to provide and thinking through it. What challenging directly is simply giving people the kinds of heads up that underlies human decency. If you see there's an issue, raise that issue, but doing it in a compassionate and understanding way. What does care personally mean? Caring personally, once again, at its core is just common human decency. You don't have to have a deeply personal relationship with the other person. But if you work closely with someone, if, for example, you're somebody's boss or you're managing an agency, you need to begin to develop some kind of positive human relationship with that person so that they can have the understanding that you are compassionate and do care about them. Let's actually run through an example because that's a lot and you need to see how it can actually be tactically used in a real life situation working with an agency. So let's put a scenario together. Let's say you're working with a paid media agency and specifically your main point of contact, your main performance marketer here is named Bob. And he turned a sale campaign off one day late, which resulted in wasted spend. The main problem here, though, is that this isn't the first time that this has happened. Let's run through all 4 different situations on this graph right here and run you through what that actually looks like. Firstly, let's talk about radical candor. What radical candor would look like in this situation is that you would ask Bob for a private conversation to hop on a call where you would talk through and say, Bob, the latest sale campaign was turned off one day late, which caused a large amount of wasted spend. Maybe it cost $3,000 of wasted spend here. This has happened a few times now. I know mistakes are a part of the role, but given the frequency of this kind of mistake, I felt that I absolutely needed to let you know. I'd personally like to know if something we had done on our end caused the error and how we could improve. Do we need to make the sale end dates clearer? The further conversation then goes and uncovers that Bob's been going through a tough time and it's been draining him a lot, and that's why he's missing details. Here, you have a somewhat uncomfortable conversation, yet you do so by showing empathy and being candid. You'll also learn the root cause of the mistake, realize Bob might need help with getting back his focus. You might need to talk to the larger mini team that you're working with in the agency, make it clear to them, hey, Bob seems to actually be having a tough time. It's causing us issues. Can we provide additional resourcing to the team that I'm working with within this agency? Bob then gains acceptance, thus leading to better quality work. The team delivers higher quality campaigns. You get additional resources allocated to you. And the problem is not only solved, but performance moving forward is significantly increased. Now, this only happened because we approached through this radically candid but compassionate dialogue, which is coming through with complete understanding, saying that the reason we need to let you know is that it does seem to be becoming an issue, and then taking a degree of accountability on our end and saying, is it something we're doing on our end? Diffusing the situation through moving accountability off of Bob to us. What does obnoxious aggression look like? Well, when the delayed campaign's noticed, you immediately send an email or a Slack message saying, listen, Bob, get your act together. We can't be making mistakes like this. Do this again, and we're gone. This outburst is obviously a horrible way to let Bob know he needs to rise the quality of what he's delivering. Bob understands he's causing pain for the team and looks at ways to improve his work. The problem here is that even though Bob is made aware of the issue and potentially might even improve, he may or may not choose to react to it at all, which would not benefit the team. At the same time, there would be arguments on the team, which would lead to the team under-delivering and Bob ending up with hurt feelings and not enjoying the relationship and the partnership. And this is the typical response in 70% of instances. In 20% of instances, it's ruinous empathy. You think that you don't really want to make Bob feel bad. So you think to yourself, oh, Bob's made a mistake again. I guess he should realize that he needs to work on whatever it is that's causing him to make so many errors. He'll figure it out. Several weeks later, you go and fire the agency, and you, as a brand, loses potentially a great resource in that agency. On top of that, Bob then loses the chance to become aware that he's been sloppy with some aspects of his work. He doesn't have a chance to learn, and ultimately, he's considered too poor due to his retention numbers within the agency, and he gets fired from the agency. So not only has it impacted the brand, it's impacted Bob, and it's impacted the agency. All parties have taken a loss whenever ruinous empathy comes into play when providing feedback or noticing issues. And then the last one we'll skim over, as this is so rare. Under 2% of the time would this happen, but in a manipulative, insincere response, it would be that you would whisper to someone else in your team, "Can you believe that Bob made another mistake? Does he even check his work?" Just to recap, there's 2 reasons as to why you would ever end a partnership with an agency. Number 1 is that the agency couldn't achieve the desired or expected results, which is simply a poor quality agency, and you need to be looking into gathering resources to better vet agencies, which we have, and I'll link that below. Or number 2 is that the partnership lacked effective collaboration, communication, and management, which was a lack of resourcing around how to effectively manage a partnership. The highest leverage skill in ecom is not to have incredible management skills. And so what that ends up lending itself to is majority of people watching this video, majority of ecom business owners have fairly underdeveloped management skills. So to counter this, number 1, the recommendation is negative reinforcement will not encourage better work. You need to be celebrating wins. Everybody says that they can take feedback, just give it to them straight. This is not true for anyone on a long enough time horizon. You have to be positively reinforcing, and you have to be sharing wins. You cannot simply be providing negative feedback all the time and expect positive incremental growth. Secondly is shooting for radical candor every time you're providing feedback. Looking to care personally whilst also challenging directly in real time. If you do these 2 things, you'll find that your agency starts going above and beyond for you. Your account managers will spend more time on your brand. This will naturally happen no matter what systems the agency has in place. Even if they're time tracking account managers and where they're allocating time, an account manager will naturally intrinsically spend more time on accounts that they enjoy working with. And number 3, you'll find that your mini team now actually starts to feel a part of your brand. It starts to feel like an in-house team and operate like an in-house team.